Hello again, everyone. I say again, this is technically episode 1 of something, so this wouldn't be again unless you've listened to our other podcast. This isn't a good start, is it?
It's kind of an again anyway, because I'm CJ and this is Patrick, and we do the Twin Humanities podcast, which is a Dark Souls podcast. But because we love games, we'll chat about games sort of anyway, and often those have been little offcuts and separate sort of MP3s and stuff, which are downloadable aside from the Twin Humanities podcast. And so we enjoy doing those. We enjoy doing those a lot, but we thought we'd give it a bash and do sort of a longer one, a proper one. And rather than Twin Humanities, we thought the Humanities,
the Humanities,
which I think was, well, it was your idea, wasn't it?
Totally my idea.
Although in the back of my head, it goes along in the same way as that old song, "Thanks for the memories." so the back of my head is the Humanities, but in that kind of voice as
well. We'll have to look at it. We'll have to see if we can work that into the intro. Yeah,
almost like a man that swallowed a trumpet. Hold on, I could with one of those things over the front, like they used to have on like the Minnie the Moocher thing. So it'd be like, "Thanks for the memories."
The whammy.
No, that probably doesn't come across. It sounds like I'm being enthusiastically strangled.
I'm being strangled, but I'm enjoying it.
That's a different podcast, though.
Yeah.
Right.
God.
So yeah, we thought we'd talk about games and stuff, and the biggie at the moment is the launch of the PS4, and in particular the launch of Paddy's PS4.
Yeah.
His house. So I have some questions.
Okay, you may fire away. Let me just tell you a quick story about when I got my PS4. I had it arrive at work because I was at work.
See, that was my first question.
Yeah, I had the day booked off, and then things happened, and then I didn't have the day off anymore. I wasn't too happy about it, as you would be, but it doesn't matter, because it turned up at work, and I put it upstairs, and I got a taxi home, and popped the last button off my coat.
That's an acceptable trade-off.
Yeah. Like, I leaned down to pick it up, and the button went bang. I was like, oh.
There could have been worse things that happened. If some sort of acceptable trade-off, I'd imagine that's probably it.
Like, it's better than being mugged.
But it is arse when you get something like that and you just have to sit knowing that it's somewhere.
Well, yeah.
I remember when I got my GameCube. I was on a late shift at the job I was on, which was like 1 till 9:30, and they put me on some inexplicable lunch, like 2:30 or something like that, and I went down to Another World, as it was then, which before it was bought by Forbidden Planet, and the local version of Another World was legendary, one of the greatest gaming and comic stores ever. Some amazing people in there. But I walked down there, and at work I'd kind of been running at this promotion thing to earn money for the GameCube. So I'd got the console put by, a few games, like an extra gamepad, all that kind of gubbins. And I bought it on my lunch, and I had to wander back with this massive bag, and then for the next 6 hours when I got back, just sit with my feet slightly touching it.
Well, I did that. I decided to not open it while I was at work. I decided to leave it in the Amazon package.
Yeah. And
do it at home, like give it, have a religious experience with it.
Well, this was it. What were your thoughts when you were unboxing? And are you quite finicky with unboxing like that? Like almost as if did you tear off the Amazon packaging and really like smash into it?
No.
Or did you kind of savor it as if some sort of degree of foreplay?
I got scissors because I didn't want to rip it to bits, so I just carefully kind of cut the box open and opened it up, and then I took the actual PlayStation packaging out of the Amazon box, flung the Amazon box to one side once it was out. Like, no joke, flung it. Like, I don't need you anymore, box. I have a better box.
Your time is done.
Surprised at how small the box was, all things considered.
Uh-huh.
Because I went for the they called it the gamer pack or the player pack or something like that. Basically, you get the console with obviously the controller and the little headset and all the wires and all that gumph. But you also got a second controller, the PlayStation camera, and a copy of Calzone Shadowfall for the low price of, I thought, £430, which is actually quite good. Because I worked out that's about £70 saving if I'd have bought it all separately.
What does the camera do?
The camera is, to quote the opposition, it's a bit like a Kinect, sort of.
Yeah, but is there any software thus far that kind of use it, or is it?
Mainly, it's used for, or so far, the main use I've had for it is it knows when I'm there and logs me in when I turn it on.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool. And when you first set up your PlayStation account with it, it like registers your face and you kind of have to tilt your head so it knows who you are. It's just kind of cool. But no, I haven't even plugged it in yet in my story. I've still opened it. And
Okay.
I got my scissors out and I was very carefully sort of slicing along the edges of all the tape. Not even ripping them, just very carefully. And then taking it out, and then, oh, look, there's another box inside. Let's take this box out and put this box down.
That's exciting.
And do you know what was nice? While I was opening it, there's a few, the sort of smaller bits of cardboard you get in there to sort of pad out where the cables go.
Yeah.
A couple of those had sort of PS4 cut into the cardboard.
Oh, sweet. I love that.
It was so nice. Like, that looks really cute.
That's an attention to detail, though, and that for me is when a designer is in love with their job. That they're not just trying to finish it as soon as possible. They genuinely want to put themselves into it, and do a package that they themselves would smile at opening.
And the interesting bit is that part of the packaging was in the extras, as it were, because inside the box you have the main PS4 box, which is what you would get if you just bought the PS4 on its own.
Yeah.
And then the extra gumph that I bought, so the camera and the controller and the game, were in their own separate package underneath it. And that's where the cool PS4 cut-out bits were that I noticed. And I thought, that's kind of nice. It's not just a side bit. Open the box. It was that sort of... It was a very sort of... I want to say Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones moment. When you sort of open it, it's like, but no one died. My face did melt slightly, but, it was fine. First impressions, good lord, it is not actually that big. Like, I've got it sitting on my. I'm looking at it now, and size-wise, I would say it's comparable to a PS3 Slim.
Okay.
The second one, the not the first one, the sort of second one.
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty comparable to that. It's actually less tall than it, I think. It's about the same width, about the same depth, and it's got that delicious sort of parallelogram styling to it. But yeah, it's not big, and it isn't heavy either.
Okay.
It barely weighs a damn thing. And I'm so used to having, consoles weighing, a freaking ton. It's more like, how PS1s weren't really very heavy?
Yeah.
Like that. Like, you think this is going to be a lumpy great thing, and you go, oh wow.
You go to pick it up, and as you wrap your fingers around it, you compensate for what you overcompensate for what you think the weight's going to be, and then you kind of almost subhumanly go like, whoa!
Throw it into the ceiling. Oh,
lift it far too high, and do make that noise as if some sort of anally surprised puppy.
Like, am I the Hulk? Did I get stronger? I unpacked it. I even went as far as unfolding the little quick start guide and plugging in the cables in the right order it said in the quick start guide, even though that does not matter in any way, shape or form. I thought, nope, I'm going to do the power lead first.
Got to do it properly.
Yeah. Like, even to the point I had to pull all my cupboards out, so I had to put the N64 power lead on the other side of the TV because there wasn't enough plug holes. It's still all plugged in. Don't worry about that. I had to move them around because my compulsion wouldn't let me plug it in on the other side. And it looks nice on the right, so it had to be there. Plug it in, switch the TV to the right AV, and you just hit the little button on the front, and it was beautiful. It turns on to the PlayStation logo, the PS. So black screen with a little PS on it. About 3 or 4 seconds, and it starts booting into the welcome to your PS4.
What noise does it make? Because I always equate the PS3 booting up noise to a violinist being pulled through time.
That's quite good.
That kind of... It's a rubbish noise.
It's the sound of an orchestra tuning up.
No,
it used to be a whole orchestra. Like, it used to be like more of an orchestra, and they changed it after a couple of updates. Yeah, when the PS3 first came out, it was a proper sort of. It sounded like an orchestra, like in a hall. As far as I know, it doesn't actually have a noise.
Okay, that's a little bit of a shame, I think.
I haven't noticed the noise, which means there either isn't one or it's quiet.
Because there was that really beautiful kind of boot up to the PS2.
Mm.
And I remember the GameCube's was great. Yeah, that was great. What was the PS1's? Did the PS1?
PS1 was like bwong, bwong.
Yeah, so maybe the PS3's picking up from that, and the Xboxes is just like a, and then a to say you online, which is wank. Although the funniest thing that I saw Xbox One wise the other day, which I will interject, is that there was a fight going on with Killer Instinct, and I was watching it and going, "Oh, this is a lot faster than I thought it'd be," and that sort of stuff. But one of the people was playing as a female fighter, and she was in sort of a fight stance, sort of at the end of it, and the Xbox achievement sign came up, and it was pink. And you think about the Xbox One logo and the Xbox logo, that kind of
it's green.
The actual design, that X.
Mm-hmm.
And the positioning of this achievement, which is just a circular achievement, was in a very unfortunate place.
Oh.
And I looked and just went, really? It almost seemed like somebody at whichever company had made the game was being surreptitious, because it was staggeringly placed between both legs. It was really. I was just looking and going like, my first reaction was, because I was eating my dinner, and my first reaction was like, oh, this real sort of repulsion. But yeah, very very strange. I'll try and find the video and link you to it.
That's cool. That reminds me of Double Dragon Neon. At the end of Double Dragon Neon, there's a musical number where the bad guy's falling out of space, and he's singing on the way down. And as he's sort of singing, one of the lines is like, "Here's a medal for your victory," and then the trophy goes ding at that exact moment. It's perfect. Like, it's like, oh my god, yep. And it's got karaoke lyrics at the bottom. It's awesome.
You love that game.
Oh my god, I need it in my body all the time. It's now both of my ringtones on my phone.
So back to PS4 goodness.
Yes.
Thus far, I think I know the answer to this. But what's your biggest surprise? And I think the answer, going from your Twitter feed, I think your answer is going to be Resogun.
My answer is Resogun.
Here we go.
It was all it. Oh yeah. Before we get to Resogun, I just want to say, signing in and connecting your PSN account, piece of piss.
I've heard that
5 minutes
downloading the updates and stuff is just laser monkey fast.
Like, no joke, it took less than a minute to download and install, and I thought, did it do it? Like, was that...
I don't like change.
Yeah,
like throwing your pitchfork at the TV.
I was like,
well, what's that? Where's the rest of it?
I expect there to be time to go make some toast.
Like, I grew up with the Commodore 64 generation, so put a game in, wait for the loading music to kick in, maybe have a biscuit.
Tape colon load.
Yeah, Mom, got any crisps?
What's happening? Oh, it's just
tape colon load. What are you on about? Control.
I had an Acorn.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah. I was a BBC. Yeah, BBC Acorn.
Dear God, your parents wanted you to learn, not have fun.
Yeah. Although I did buy those magazines where you coded the game. And you get one thing wrong, and because I was only like 7, I didn't know how to change them, so I had to write the entire fucking thing out again.
I never did that.
Days of my life gone.
Yeah, I'd imagine it was days of your life.
Right, it's fine.
Yeah,
I coded like there was a Pac-Man clone that you could make on it, and it was terrible, but like I made that. It's like, Dad, can you give us more tapes? Why? No reason.
Tapes, beautiful.
Need more Pac-Man. But yeah, no, you signed into PSN, literally, piece of piss, done, you signed in. Took a little while to log on at first, but admittedly, launch day, everyone's doing it, so I'm okay with that. I don't mind having problems logging in on the first day because everyone's trying.
Uh-huh.
I actually put a tweet up going, can everyone in the world just sod off so I can log in? And then logged
They
in
did.
5 seconds later. Like, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks, everyone in the world. Good job. You log in, go on your account. First thing I did before I did anything else was I kind of felt like a bit of a traitor because the first thing I downloaded on it was Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Because it was there on the main screen, like, oh, look, TV stuff. Oh, Netflix. Okay, get that downloaded. No, BBC iPlayer. Oh, Demand 5. Click, 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 get it all done.
Where is YouTube?
No YouTube. And that's interesting because they say you could use YouTube on their website.
Uh-huh.
The regular YouTube page doesn't work because you need Flash and you can't install Flash on it. The YouTube XL that is the usual fix for the PS3, but before they had the YouTube app out, YouTube XL has been killed by YouTube quite recently.
What?
Doesn't work anymore. I went there, it's like, nope, don't work anymore. I'm like, what? So you can't actually, at the moment, view YouTube on the damn thing, which is a bit annoying.
Because you see, I mean, one of my favourite things with my PS3 is to watch YouTube while I'm having my dinner. And like,
got it on it,
yeah. I mean, when I'm having my dinner, or if you just want to watch a few bits before, if you're feeling a bit knackered and just sort of lying on the couch and want to watch a few bits, or in the first thing in the morning, I'll watch various stuff while I'm working out, and
so casually while I'm working out.
No, I just find exercise incredibly monotonous, and if I'm being entertained whilst doing that, then all well and good. But the amount of channels I've bookmarked now, there's always something to watch.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I just do not watch regular TV anymore. Just because there's so many specific, brilliant, fun, entertaining shows that are on YouTube now. I just have absolutely no need to do it. So yeah, I'm wondering if there's ongoing negotiations there.
Yeah. It's coming. It has to come because it just doesn't work at the moment, and it needs to be there soon because we need it. We can look at Twitch for Christ's sake. Come on, we can't look at YouTube.
Yeah, but I mean the question was about Resogun, but going on to going on to Twitch, I've actually watched a few Twitch streams that people have kicked out recently. Like Andy Hamilton did a Battlefield one, which I watched. I saw some of David Turner's Call of Duty Ghosts one the other day. It's interesting to see kind of how people that you've listened to on podcasts play their games in the first place, but also it was kind of quirky just to see technology in action. And I know there's no Twitch archiving of this stuff thus far, but I think in many ways where you're left now is really in the moment. They're like, such and such is streaming this. It's not like, I might watch that in a bit. It's like, fuck it, I'll watch that.
Oh, they're on now. Okay, fine, yeah. I've watched it actually. You can bring up the Twitch stuff actually on the console itself. They've got a live on PlayStation section, so you press it and you're like, look at all these people streaming. I'm going to watch. I think so far I've watched Brian Crescente of Polygon playing some Killzone. I think that was on. I think that was on the internet. Actually, I think that was a couple of weeks ago, but it was cool, sort of seeing how it worked. And Mike Biffle, Mr. Thomas was the lone guy, was streaming some Assassin's Creed 4, and I sat and watched that for a little bit. And he likes to shoot birds. Spent 5 minutes trying to shoot birds. It was great.
Oh, I would have watched that. I'd quite like to see how Assassin's Creed 4 looks on it. Because if I could get one, that would be the single game that I went for. And I have looked at one. Well, the place that I got my phone from last time is offering kind of one of those free, in inverted commas, PS4 deals.
Oh, okay.
And the phone that it comes with, or the options of the phones, really aren't great phones. They're kind of bottom of the rung, but it's essentially kind of getting a PS4 on the drip, if you will.
Yeah.
And sort of part of my mind's just gone, ooh.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then I sort of reassure myself, like, you got to wait this out. Wait for that game. Wait for that game that you can't resist. And yet, something at the back of my mind goes, yeah, but there's all these people talking about it. It looks exciting. I
I
want
want to
to play
join in and play with them.
I do, and I think there's something to be said for, even though there's not a tremendous amount of games out thus far. There's obviously the
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
launched. I think the upswing of that is there's a bottleneck towards the games which are available, and the fact that your Battlefields, your Need for Speeds have got multiplayer in there anyway. I think it's dead exciting because people are all getting together and sort of jumping in and gaming on games that they might not have necessarily bought otherwise.
I mean, I think having the big names, having your Battlefield, having your Call of Duty on there at launch like this, and well, I say working because I heard that Battlefield 4's a bit broken, but on and working at launch is great because without wanting to generalise too much, the kind of people that play games like Call of Duty a lot only really play Call of Duty a lot.
Yeah.
Or your FIFA gamers will just play FIFA a lot, and that's the game they're going to play. So they, they're bought and they're in, and then because there's not a lot out, you've got something like Resogun is getting tons of attention. Comparatively, I don't see anyone talking about Ghosts on PS4, but I see everyone talking about Resogun.
Well, to kind of grasshopper leap to the side for a moment, but tied into that was specifically with that sort of audience, gamers, game.co.uk or Game the Store, whichever you want to label it, has had a refit of all the stores, and the stores look fantastic. It's a really classy refit, and over one side of the store they've got the Xbox One. Mm-hmm. And over the other side of the store, they've got the PS4, and both in the game in the big shopping mall that we've got, they're not that far from the doors. So when you walk in, you look over to the left, and you've got a little bit of racking, then a TV with the Xbox One.
Yep.
Then the store runs on, and likewise on the right hand side with the PS4.
Yeah, and my local's got that as well.
It's the interesting thing is that. I went in on Friday night after work, and the Xbox One had nobody around it. And there's a reason for this, and it's not just like a ZOMFG Xbox One lols. It's there was a reason that no one was around it.
Yeah,
it had a show reel running and no pad attached.
Ooh.
And I'm not sure if the reason they had no pad attached was because of Kinect functionality, and that it's reported that the UI works better with Kinect, and that if Kinect was listening, that it might go all over the place with people just having conversations or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was no pad attached. But on the other side, there were people crowding around the PS4, and to be honest, even if they had a pad attached to the Xbox One, I think people may well have been crowding around it, but why, I don't know. But the PS4 side of things, they had two pads attached, and they had FIFA 14 on it.
Oh, there you go.
So if you're talking about that user base, and that user base walking in the store like dead cold, this new console's out, great. You look to the left and you see a show reel running of the Xbox One, but you look to the right, there's a couple of blokes playing FIFA. And it's a calling card.
Yeah.
Because FIFA's a massive game. It sells millions and millions of copies, but it looked really pretty on the TV. The guys that were playing on it were had a little bit of banter going on between them. They were talking about the game. People were crowding around as much to watch those guys play the game as to watch the game, but there was a huddle, and I think that Microsoft's missed a trick there.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about not having the controllers might be individual to your store, because my local game had the same setup, You know, so you got one on one, one on the other. On. Both of them had two controllers on, but both of them were off.
What?
It was middle of the day, and they were both just off. Like, oh, okay. But me and Laura, walked past. I think it was a few days before the PS4 came out, and we sort of held the controller, like, ooh, it feels good. But yeah, they were both off. So I don't know.
It's bizarre that ties in almost to a real bugbear of mine of when you go in phone shops and they have like cardboard inserts in the phone. It's like as if somebody's going to go, wow, that's an interesting little square. Doesn't matter. I don't need to judge a screen. That cardboard insert tells me everything I need to know about this telephone.
This screen has a cardboardy sharp screen. I like it.
What a fuck nugget that is. But yeah, I just it just seems strange to me.
Yeah. But anyway,
at the very least, have FIFA on the Xbox One and have a couple of pads attached.
Doesn't that come with it? Or didn't it come with some of the bundles? Like, they were pushing really hard to get that with everything.
But at the very least, if you've got people standing around the PS4 and playing FIFA, if you've got FIFA on the Xbox One and you've got a couple of pads, two of those people are going to migrate.
Yeah. To go and, try it out. But if you don't have the controllers there, then they're not going to get it. It seems baffling. It seems silly.
I think it would get past having just the UI on the screen on its own and maybe speculatively not say that today the Kinect's jumping around with voice commands and people talking and stuff. At least in that regard, you just have a popular game on that people could stand there and play. Yeah,
and I think the choice of game actually does serve to sort of, a point that game doesn't really feel like my shop anymore.
Okay.
Like, I used to go in there, like, all the freaking time, like, every damn day when I was at work. When I was at uni in Stafford, I'd go across the road, 'cause it was literally across the road. I could see it from work. I'd have a little peruse, the 2 for 20, I had a little chat to the manager who was really nice, just potter around and, buy the odd thing here and there. They had promotions for, gamerers, actual games that were coming out. Whereas now I go sort of, you go to like you see your demo stations set up in your HMVs and your games mostly. And I know this has been this way for a long time, but it's always bloody football.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've seen a Wii U with a football game on it. Like, it's like, why? I know that it's what people, the average person on the street likes football. That's just another swooping generalisation, but your average person on the street likes football. But I don't come in game because I'm an average person. I come in game because I like games. I don't want to just play fucking football.
Yeah, but that's an argument that stretches beyond there. I mean, you remember this stuff with Bioshock Infinite, with them sort of having a bloke with a gun on the front because that's the market that they wanted to try and hit, that they were afraid that they wouldn't hit if they had a different cover or a classier cover, if you will. So I don't think you can blame a company for going for the optimum market, especially when it's a company which have been in financial difficulties previously, as Game have been. So I don't blame them particularly for that.
It's just I go in there and I don't see the kind of not the niche titles, I suppose, but I don't see the games like marketed the ones that I like when I go in, and I don't find the stuff that I want. I frequently have to go either online, to Amazon or to Play or whatever to find the games that I want to play, not just the kind of the mass marketed stuff. Isn't it? Yeah, it's like you. I find myself kind of moving away from the kind of the popular stuff. And I'm sort of seeking out, either smaller titles or weird ones, that sort of thing. And it's part of a larger problem that they can't market weird little Japanese game 37. But I go in, it's like it's not for me anymore.
I think it's a degree of balance, though, isn't it? I mean, you'd expect the massive games to take the biggest shelf space and the window dressings as well, but something that I've noticed with when I got my Vita, I was when I was looking around to get my Vita, I went to Manchester, I went to Mansfield, to Nottingham, went on various different places, not specifically looking for stuff in that regard, but I drop into video game shops, like your HMVs, your games and stuff, and to say that Persona 4 was the highest rated game on Vita, and I didn't see a single copy at retail. Even sort of this year, like I didn't see Need for Speed Most Wanted on Wii U stocked anywhere. There was like other stuff where you go, I kind of expect them to at least have a copy. And it was just strange to sort of notice that sort of decent niche stuff wasn't represented by a single copy on the shelf, and the Persona thing just I found utterly baffling.
It's same thing. People complain these things don't sell, but we can't find them in shops. That's why they don't sell. But you know what? We've been talking about just game for like the last 10 minutes.
No. I will interject though. We'll interject though with game, like generally people when we've spoken about them have mentioned good game and bad game, and good game is normally Game Station or formerly Game Station, and there's a lass that I've spoken to in my local what was Game Station, and she's a lovely lass, like really Nintendo centric and stuff, like really knowledgeable, really passionate. And when I went in there on my birthday last week, and she was really shaken, and some bloke had rang up, and apparently there was rumours of one store in the city that had been importing like PS4s,
right,
and charging like higher rates as you'd imagine. But this guy rang up and was demanding that she sell him a PS4 before the English launch date, and he said to her, "Listen to me, you fucking bitch. I've spent thousands of pounds with you. You sell me a PS4." And she was honestly she's such a lovely lass. I've been in there sort of when I bought like Wii U stuff, and I bought my Nintendo 3DS from there. Like really knowledgeable, like fantastic addition to the store because she loves her games. And for somebody to tear somebody down like that, and she was so shaken by it, and it really, really bothered me.
That's so annoying. It's like. What's wrong with people?
I genuinely hate it.
That's why we can't have nice things.
And you know that we mentioned that in a lot of bigger video game store now that there's not really your passionate fan seems to have drifted. That a lot of these stores aren't taking people on because they love video games. I heard a few years ago with people that were going for Christmas staff, and it was like, well, it's not important that you're into video games when working at a video game store, which was bizarre. But she was a credit to the store, and she's a good person.
Aww.
And for someone to tear her down so viciously like that bothered me. I hate when people treat people like that. I hate it.
Retail. Am I right?
Right. So let's. So also beginning with R is Resogun.
Resogun, yes, it is I'm going to say it's the best thing you can play on the PS4 right now. And it will be the best thing probably until Infamous comes out. And I'll tell you for the reasons why.
Do it. Listen.
Yeah, it's not that... Obviously, you've got things like your Assassin's Creed 4 and your CODs and your Battlefields, which which are good. No question, they're good. You can play them other places, but they are good. Resogun is only on the PS4. It is basically it's Defender. It's a voxel-based, super high, super pretty, super neon, super explodey Defender. And I didn't get it until I watched a video of Defender and thought, oh crap, this is Defender. But that's okay because it's so goddamn fun.
You know what I think it does inadvertently? If somebody's picking up their PS4, and maybe they've got a Battlefield or an Assassin's Creed or Need for Speed or whatever it might be. Obviously, you need a PlayStation Plus subscription now, and you've got one in the box. Is it 30 days?
30 days. I think it's 14 days.
But you still got one in the box.
Yeah.
And essentially, you've got a free game that you can play.
2 free games.
Oh yeah, there's that, and is it Control?
Contrast.
Contrast.
We'll get to that in a minute.
But even if somebody's like picking that up and playing it, and they didn't think it'd be their kind of thing, and they suddenly get addicted to it, that opens things up for, I don't know, people to be a little more attentive of games, of smaller games, of like indie games, of games that they might not delve into, because maybe they could find themselves returning to Resogun because it's got a hold over them that they can't quite equate to.
Do you know what I think? This is a bit out there, and I may be completely off base on this. I think Resogun is good enough and fun enough that people will stay on PlayStation Plus so they can keep playing Resogun. You can buy it, you can buy it for money, but once you've seen, this is really good, I might get more stuff like this if I stay on Plus.
Where does PlayStation Plus go from here? Because as I understand it, Binding of Isaac is January.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a coup. I think that's pretty cool.
Brap.
But where does Sony go with regards to PS4, PlayStation Plus exclusives for January? I know I'm wondering sort of what it means for PS3 stuff as well, because I noticed that there's only really kind of one big title on PS3.
Was it Grid this month? There was something else, wasn't there? There was Grid and something else, definitely.
There's Grid and this cross-buy Guacamelee.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, good Guacamelee.
But I don't know. That caught me off guard a little bit.
But Guacamelee is a grab. Oh, God. I could talk for an hour about that game.
I've downloaded it for my Vita, but I've not played it yet.
Ooh, you're for a treat. Anyways, we're moving past. So yeah, yes. back to Resogun. Resogun. I did a tweet and I'm very proud of it. It's like more like Reso fun.
Yeah.
Because it is just okay. So it's what it is. Basically, it's a perfect marriage of it looks really really nice. It uses the kind of the new features of the console in a really cool way, and it also plays really really well. There's no bad thing about it, really.
The thing that I picked up on from your tweets on Resogun, beyond that, was the specifics of perfecting levels.
Oh, God.
And I saw you and Farron were sort of trading sort of almost like, well, I've perfected that now. And it's like, oh.
Did you see the slight caveat to that? It turned out I'd been playing on easy, he'd be playing on normal.
Oh, right.
I was like, yeah, nailed level 3. He's like, how did you do that? I was like, I'm just good.
Yeah, but I like that. I like the specifics of fine-tuning what you're doing and not just going through to like level 8. It's like, well, I've got a perfect on level 1, 2, 3 now, and I can't get my little guys into the hole, or I keep killing one of them. Or that was fun to see. It was a nice little bit of kind of gaming tennis. Plus, it seemed to send both of you back to playing it even more, and then chipping in with stuff. And I like the was stuff sent out from the PS4 to Twitter with regards to achievements and things like that? Or
I can send pictures out. I can do script with the share button on the PS4. You can, anytime you want, just slap that share button, and it brings up your menu. It goes, do you want to share a video? Do you want to share a picture? Do you want to stream? And I'm like, let's do a picture. And it goes, Twitter or Facebook? And you're like, let's go Twitter. And you just sign in once, and that's it. You're logged in forever, which is great. Same with Facebook, just literally sign your things in once, you're good. And then be it a picture, be it a video, you can trim down the last something like 15 minutes of footage and just trim out the cool bit and send that up. And it's honestly, it is a piece of piss. It's so easy. Like, just hit one button, there you go, screenshot, upload, done. And it's great. And that's what I was using to kind of share either like my incredible high scores on easy, or sort of awesome shots of just the entire screen exploding in neon pixel-based explodions. But yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really cool way of sending stuff over. Another cool way that it uses the new controller. The new controller has a light on the back, which changes colour, I think, when you're playing games based on different things. So it's got its own property. For example, in Killzone, it glows green when you're okay and glows red when you've got low health.
Sweet, I like that.
It's a little thing, and usually it's pointing away, so you don't even notice. But I was playing in the dark for some reason today. I just started playing, and it got dark while I was playing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I looked down and thought, why is it red? And I looked up, I'm pretty bad, and I sort of got into cover and looked down. It's green now.
Oh, that's
So
really
I stood,
cool.
I stood
I really
in some,
dig that.
I stood in some bullets to see what would happen, and it went red.
I'd really dig that. I think that's fantastic.
It's awesome.
It's a nice attention to detail that I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
But,
another cool thing with that light bar in a different game, Sound Shapes, which was on PS3 and Vita originally, and if you own those versions, you get the PS4 version for free as well, which is amazing. Cool. It's really good.
That's what we like to see.
Light bar flashes along with the beat of the song.
Oh,
it's so cool. Like the little bits they're doing, like yeah. And once you've noticed it, you're looking every time and going, "Yep, still doing it."
The weird thing is that I've not seen that sort of stuff mentioned anywhere, and that's the kind of nuance and quirk that makes me go, I really dig that.
Well, no, that's not even the best bit.
Okay.
The light bar stuff is cool. The speaker stuff is better.
Go on.
So when you're playing, we'll start with the other games. We'll get back to Resogun. When you're playing Sound Shapes, okay, when you're bouncing around these worlds, you're picking up notes that kind of get added to the music. When you pick up a note, the controller goes bling when you get one. And the first time you have it, you look down and think, what was that? You get another one, bling, that was my controller. Oh, wow. It's like, it's making noise at me. That's really good. It's quite a good speaker, actually. It sounds really clear. If you play Killzone, Shadowfall, you can pick up audio logs. These play through the controller.
I love that. That was a favourite thing of mine with the Nintendo Wii, and it currently is with the Wii U as well.
Yeah, I really, because it helps. It actually helps separate it from the audio of the game as well.
Yeah,
it's a different sort of register. You're listening to that on one bit, and the game's on the radio
Well, I liked it with like that on Wii U with like Arkham City. You get sort of Alfred's radio messages come through from the speaker on the pad, and likewise when you were near perps, you'd hear them talking with the radio frequencies coming from the pad. And yet again, I just really like that. It's something that perhaps really simple, but it made me smile a lot, and it gives me an extra level of immersion.
Yeah, it really keeps you in it, and I think. Yeah. Because you're not going into a menu and it's not kind of talking over the game, you've got it on this speaker in front of you. It really does. It keeps it separate, but it also keeps you locked into the game as well. So you're listening, but because it's in a different, physical place. It's not kind of talking over itself, which is cool.
I'll put this to you, which is a revelation that's just come to mind from remembering my own memories for that sort of stuff. But
blow my mind. I'm ready.
You know when the audio logs start coming out, do you look at the speaker?
The first time I did, yeah. Again,
but just generally, as if like you can see the things that they're saying. I tend to sort of look down and go like, oh, as if some sort of crazy old person will look like. Tiny speakers and things, that'll never catch on. Like my radio sandwich. That was the future.
Like an old person holding the phone the wrong way around. This noise is coming out of the wrong bit. Why is this making a noise?
Never catch on.
Nah. But yeah, that's good. But again, Resogun seems to be the best use of it that I've found. And this is probably more personal than anything, but basically the controller, the speaker on the controller is basically the announcer's voice.
Okay.
So, like, when you start a level, kind of this big neon sort of bit of text goes round the level, because you play on, like, a circle, as it were. Like, you kind of loop around on yourself. And the controller goes, save the last humans, like, as it kind of whooshes past. And every time you kind of, your multiplier goes up, or, like, a human is seen, or a keeper is seen, which is a particular kind of enemy in the game, it'll go like, keeper detected. And again, you notice it because it's separate. You're like, oh, okay, keeper, right, I'll do that. Whereas if it was all mixed together, I don't think you get it as much. It really does go, oh, right, oh, yeah, okay, keeper. And it really helps you pick out when stuff's happening. And it's so cool. And like I've left it on the whole time because I think you can turn it off if you want. I ain't turning that shit off. It's awesome. really, really good.
I ain't turning that shit off.
But yeah, no, but basically, Resogun, it uses the controller in the best way of all the games I've played with it so far. It's just, it looks incredible. Like, it's neon, it's kind of voxel based, so kind of everything's made of little cubes, but you don't notice that until you blow them up. And they kind of burst in like a sort of a liquid kind of of sort of pixels flapping around everywhere. And it's really hard to explain without seeing it, but it looks like water balloons have popped. In like, there's lots of little cubes, and they all go over things when they explode. But yeah, no, it's so gorgeous, and it just plays so well. Like, there's only 5 levels in the game. There's only 5 actual maps you can play on. But the difficulty settings make it feel like there's more, a lot more. Because easy, you can beat easy and think, yeah, I did that, without too much trouble. Think, yeah, brilliant. But like, you knock it up to medium, and the difficulty just like triples.
The shit hits the fan.
Shit hits fan, and there's 2 more difficulties above that. Like, it gets really like almost bullet hell levels at points. Like, there's so much stuff going on the screen. You're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Just the fact it does actually, it's probably, it's a testament to how well the visuals are designed, that you can always see what's going on. When you fuck up, 9 times out of 10, you'll see what killed you. Like, there's been 1 or 2 times when the screen's been exploding in, nightmares. I've been in the thick of it, and I've gone, boom, and exploded. Like, the fuck was that? What killed me? And then, oh, okay, it's one of those guys, and you sort of work it out later. But yeah, most of the time when you die, you know what you did wrong. And it never feels unfair. Like, it will throw dozens and dozens of enemies at you at a time. Like, and they won't just fly in their pattern they want to. They'll fly at you. Like, they'll see you and go, oh, there's that dick, let's get him.
So I know that you're not particularly a first-person shooter guy. So how are you getting on with Killzone?
With the Killzone, not bad. I'm not very good at it.
The Killzone.
The Killzone, yeah.
Calzone.
The Calzone. Yeah, it needs a bit more meat inside of its calzone mix. But honestly, it's okay. I mean, I'm not very good at it, and I have to. When I'm looking at it, I have to like offset the fact that I know I'm not good at shooting games, which is why I'm not doing very well. It's not that it's a bad game; it's that I'm bad at the game. I know that, and I'm getting better, but I know the first levels were just an exercise in me just dying.
I do like my first-person shooters, and I hated Killzone 2. I absolutely hated it. I just thought it was soulless and dull and just...
It's really weird, because that's like one that most people liked.
It was one that I was really looking forward to. Like, when I got my PS3, I was like, oh, I really want to play Killzone 2, but I'll start at the beginning because of like PS3 shooters. So I picked up Resistance and loved it. Loved Resistance. Not perfect, but loved the stuff that he did right with the story, the research they did to the history of England, and things like the aliens took Nottingham by the traditional tunnels that run underneath at the levels of like Manchester Cathedral, and seeing like aliens run around in places like York just felt really unusual and really, really cool.
This is America.
Yeah, and it just felt a little bit quirky and a little bit special, and for the stuff that it didn't do perfectly, it made up for it by the research it had done and the ambition that it showed, and I dug the hell out of that. And I picked up Resistance 2 afterwards, which disappointed that it was in America, and I wasn't so sure of some of the design decisions, like getting rid of the weapon wheel, and even some of the quirks, like I love it when a game rewards you for going off the beaten track.
Yeah.
Like you don't go forward, you go to the side a bit, or you go up at the top of the building, you found like an ammo stash or something like that.
Yeah.
And Resistance 2 did away with that, seemingly. It wanted you to go forward, it limited you to 2 weapons, and often the weapon that you should use would be dropped just before the place where you should use it. But it entertained me. It entertained me a lot. Cool. But when I got to Killzone, I just found like this dull, grey and brown, bland, sweary blah. and it really took me back. And I played the demo of Killzone 3. Liked the colour that they'd interjected into it. It seemed like a much better game. And much more fun to play, I guess. But I still wasn't keen on the kind of, yo, dude, let's fucking go down to the planet and fuck the Nazi hellgas.
Shoot that guy.
Yeah, I got a jetpack now, John, and let's fucking fuck that fucker up, you fuck. That should be a game in itself. Let's go. Let's fuck that fucker up, you fuck. But. Yeah, so it's something that I've always wanted to love more than I have. But yeah, I was curious to see how you get on. And there was a great tweet at the weekend from Andy Hamilton. He was saying like that he's got last gen eyes. Because he's saying like things are shooting me from the distance that I can't see because they're there in the graphics. I've just got last gen eyes.
Do you know what? That is so on the money. That is so on the money. Because yeah, so I'm playing the Killzone, and I mean, it's the level that a lot of the trailers were showing. A lot of the first sort of reveals where you sort of stood in the city, and he gets attacked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh god, and the guy uncloaks in front of you, and I'm doing that, and I'm walking on thinking, who the fuck is shooting me? And it's someone miles off in the distance, and I get up and I walk over to my TV, and he's very clearly there. And I went and sat back down. I was like, but it's so like I can't see him from here.
This is the dawning realization that we all have last gen eyes. But the best review I've seen of Killzone Shadowfall is on Classic Game Room, and everybody should check it out because whilst sort of most reviews I've seen have been like, oh, this is Killzone, it's doing this. Oh, the environment is quite like this, and you know, all sort of quite hoity-toity. And Classic Game Room is just wonderfully like, this is the fun I'm having, this is stupid, this is great, I'll take the piss out of this bit, this is what I really love. And it's just really wholesome and passionate and honest, and I love Classic Game Room anyway, but Mark from Classic Game Room did the same sort of thing that he did recently with the Grand Theft Auto 5 review, where he did something which I've rarely seen, where it's just pointing out how much fun you can have. Chet and John actually did a similar piece on Grand Theft Auto, which again was just showing how you can bugger about and what a laugh you can have and all the quirks and stuff. That I dig the hell out of that sort of stuff.
Well, let me explain some of the fun you can have in Killzone. Okay. In Killzone, Shadowfall, you can be hit by a train.
Yeah.
Over and over. If you don't pay attention, you can be hit by a train.
How?
There's a level at a train station, and you're walking along. It's like, oh no, they've loaded up their bombs on the trains. They're using the trains like missiles, which is a weird line. But I thought, okay, I can see what they mean. You know, they're sending, they're loading up bombs and they're sending the trains to a place and they're going to blow up the place. And it's cool. So quick, jump on and fix it. So I jumped off this helicopter onto this train station that was suspended on a wall, which was kind of cool. Looked great. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. Sort of clambering along, and I was sort of looking around, thinking, right, there's a ladder there, so I can go up that one. Bang! And I didn't know what it was at first. Like, what? Did someone shoot me? And then I went back in and I sort of looked around a bit more, and then I saw the train. But because it's the future, trains go really, really fast, and I couldn't move out the way in time. And I got hit by the train again. Over the course of that level, down to nothing more than my own stupidity, I got hit by at least 6 trains. And it's an instant kill when you get hit by the train every time. And it's like, oh, fuck, so just pay attention, boys. Stop trying to shoot the mans and pay attention to the train.
Do you know what I do find interesting on a Killzone note is that the lead designer of Fallout New Vegas has joined Guerrilla.
Oh wow!
And my instant thought was, well, I mean, it's probably just putting 2 and 2 together and making 5. But could you imagine? I mean, especially with the added power in the room of like the new consoles, but if they had some sort of massive sprawling landscape with a decent story. But one that you could wander all over, essentially like a Fallout, but with kind of Killzone-ish graphics, or you know, that kind of more attuned first-person shooter kind of gameplay. I think that might be a bit good.
Could work. I mean, there's enough lore there for it to work. I mean, the basic premise of the game is you're on Vector or Vecton or what, V. And in the end of the last game, you blow up Helgen, like the whole planet. Spoilers, I guess. Whoops. It's not like they talk about it in the first 5 minutes of the game. Like, oh, we blew the planet up. Whoops. And then they all come to live on Vector on their own half of the planet. And of course, you know what's going to happen. Oh wait, there's a war. So there's probably enough there to justify that.
Just fine-tuning it though, and sort of making it seem passionate and real, and giving you characters that you care about. Because that's one thing that I heard about the original Killzone, was there were quite a lot of character moments in there.
Yeah, this one doesn't have that.
Yeah, I think
I do not care. I can't even remember what the lead guy's name is.
The only thing I really remember from 2 and 3 is some guy that looked like Ice-T. That would just swear. No, Ice Cube, I think. Somebody with ice in there who would just swear a lot. Swear a lot. No.
Oh, I'd play that game.
It was just swearing and people standing on space platforms.
There's a lot of there are some flying space platforms in this as well. The flying space platform quota is covered.
Yeah. Let's fly down to the planet, you fuck. You motherfucking fuck. Let's fuck some fucking hellgas fucks.
There's not as much fuck in this. You'll be
That's what I like, though. Save it for optimum moments.
Every now and again, you get the odd one here and there. You're like, whoa, he means business. He's going to shoot that guy. He's really going to shoot that one because he really hates that guy. He called him a twat.
Yeah, I think for me, a bugbear has always been when mature entertainment is considered swearing, violence, and or sex, when really mature entertainment is just something that someone between 5 and 50 can enjoy. And whilst I know that's not the Killzone market, but I don't know, less of the F-bombs and more of the goodness. Yeah, I
mean, I've not bumped into the multiplayer yet, but I've heard that's pretty fun. And you can make your own, game types with their war zones, I think they call it, where you can choose what weapons you have, and it sounds pretty fun, but I've not jumped in yet.
One of the highlights I heard about 3 was the multiplayer was supposed to be absolutely top notch, like really, really belting. So it'd be nice to have an update on that for next time then, and see how you're getting on like.
Right, and I will stop past another couple of games quickly before we because we've been talking for nearly an hour about this already.
We have.
I also tried. There's a few free-to-play games on the PS4 at launch. I've only dipped my toe into one of them so far. We've got DC Universe, which apparently is basically the same as it was before, but now slightly prettier.
And probably just take about 6 years to download.
It probably still works. It's a 20 gig download.
Yeah, but still, that
Yeah, that was a point against it.
Yeah.
We've also got two games with war in the title. We have War Thunder, which is shooty planes.
That sounds like a Geordie exclamation.
War Thunder.
which would match up nicely to the Irish gratitude of World of Tanks. On Xbox 360. War Thunder and World of Tanks.
War Thunder. Well, maybe it's that guy from Star Trek, but under stuff.
Moving on.
That's too far. And the other game also has war in the title, is Warframe. The only game I've tried of those is Warframe, and it is a third-person shooty bang bang game. In your vein of your Gears or. Oh God, the last one I played like that was Fuse. God, I've referenced Fuse. Oh, I feel bad.
Warframe, I'd like to have seen like an apocalypse where maybe there was a pensioner with one of those sort of walking frames, but they could lift the walking frames up, and when they did, it was a little bit like the moment in the Millennium Falcon with Luke Skywalker was like, great shot, kid, that was 1 nil. Now,
don't get cocky.
Yeah, but that would be my Warframe.
Mm.
But obviously a Geordie pensioner.
Well, you say that the enemies you fight do look really old, so take that as you will.
But you were going to do another sort of Geordie tie-in. Well, the enemies you do fight are girls who are wearing really really slight amounts of clothing to say it's winter.
Oh, you catch your death in that.
Yeah.
Warframe. It's pretty fun. I played like a level or two of it. It doesn't seem very free to play yet. Like I don't see where the panhandling for money is yet, which is kind of cool. But I'm worried it's going to creep up at some point in the very near future. I'm worried I'm in the extended tutorial still. You can barrel around, you can shoot guys, you can stab guys. You as you level up, you get powers. It's a little bit obtuse at the moment, but again, I've only just started, so I'm thinking what's affinity? What's a cell? What's all this stuff? Why would I have this weapon instead of that? And the shooting's not incredible. Like, it's not as sharp as it could be. I noticed quite early that it was I was having a few issues with the aiming, and the cover snapping mechanics are non-existent. It's all about crouching, which is with the left analog stick, I think, or holding L2.
Okay.
It's not easy. Anyway, it should be a thing that's simple, and it's not. You end up sort of fumbling with it, trying to sort out what you want to do. But, it's got promise, I guess. It's pretty cool. But those aren't the important. The best added value you can get on the PS4. It comes in the form of, which we've already mentioned, PS3 games, which you already own, and they will give you a PS4 copy. The two that I've redeemed so far, Flower and Sound Shapes.
Yeah, I mean, you do love your Sound Shapes, don't you?
I really like this, and I've already beaten it again all the way through. Just on the PS4, I've already beaten all the way through. Flower, I've beaten all the way through already, and it is sumptuous. It looked good on the PS3. It looks better on the PS4, and I didn't think it would look much better. And I was like, you instantly load up like, whoa. The 6-axis stuff on the controller is easier. It goes where you want it to go now, which is pretty decent. The electric level is still bullshit, but otherwise it plays like a goddamn dream. It's gorgeous, and it's the sort of thing that you turn on and say, look at what my machine can do. Look how pretty this is. But yeah, I think there's also I think Escape Plan is one of the other ones, which was the Vita game that came out, I think, at the launch, and it was kind of two little black inky men walking around and solving puzzles. But I don't have that one. But again, it's nice that if you're kind of entrenched in the ecosystem, which someone like me, I am, and I've got a fair few digital games. It's nice that when I switch over, I haven't got to just play my new games on it and then turn it off and turn the PS3 back on. I've got a few things I can transfer over that I know and I'm familiar with. I can just boot them and go, oh, I know this, I can play some of this. And on top of that, you get a whole new bunch of people playing it as well. There are loads of Sound Shapes levels being uploaded at the moment. There's some curated sets up that were there. Admittedly, they were there a couple of weeks ago, but there's some levels curated by good old Shuhei Yoshida from Sony. The guys from The Verge have curated some. GameSpot have done it. IGN have done it. And there's they call them milk crates, which is 5 or 6 levels, all based around a theme. And they've kind of lumped them together, and they've kind of picked out people have made these levels and clumped them together and said, look at all these games. These people have done a good job.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Just sitting there and just playing random people's levels. It's really, really fun. And yeah, Sound Shapes is one of the ones that if I've got 5 minutes spare and my nerves can't handle Resogun, I'll turn on Sound Shapes. And it seems kind of weird and a bit anticlimactic that one of the things I'm playing the most on the PS4 is a PS3 game.
Yeah. It's
kind of weird, but I'm okay with it. It's not particularly graphics intensive, so you won't see a massive jump on the graphics at all. But I don't know, it just feels smoother. It feels smooth, it feels pretty, and it works. And it's nice to have a community for it now. Whereas before, I think the community was quite fragmented because it was ideally set out as a Vita title. When it first came out, it was mainly promoted as a Vita game, and still at the point when no one had a Vita. And it never really got the sort of community behind it that, say, your Little Big Planet got. And I think that's one of the things, it's benefiting from being on the PS4 this early because people are playing it. In the absence of competition on there, it's actually getting people to look at it, and, people are saying, oh, it's quite good, make some levels. And Yeah, it's nice to see an old game that I really like that never really got a big, takeoff, actually take off, which is really
Sweet.
nice. It's fun, but yeah, that's basically everything I've got on the PS4. Oh yeah, Contrast, sorry, was the other PS4 game that you get given, and yeah, I don't like it. It's kind of rubbish. It's not. It's very indie game in that it mostly doesn't work sometimes. Like you'll do, you're an acrobat girl in like a sort of noirish sort of cabaret-ish kind of world, and you can jump into the walls and walk on the shadows, but mechanically, usually it's quite hard to make that snap every time. And I've had a few bits where I've been running around and, oh crap, fell off, right, run back to the start, try again, oh, fell off, try again. It's a bit loose, it's a bit fast and loose for me. But I've only played like 15 minutes of it, so I'm still willing to give it a bit more of a go, but it's not ideal. I would rather have had Drive Club at launch, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, at least that kind of positions itself for something a little bit further down the line, I guess.
Because it is still coming. Anyway, we know it's coming still, which is nice. But yeah, no, that's most of the PS4s. Oh, last thing, and that's the last thing I'll tell you about the PS4. The best controller, or the best add-on you can buy for it, is a Vita.
Oh, have you done some streaming to the pad?
You know it, son.
I've heard that. I've heard it's a bit sweet.
It's so goddamn easy. Like, it's so easy. You go to the Vita page on the settings. You go, right, link Vita. The recent Vita update has a PS4 button on it. You hit that and it goes, oh, there's a PS4 there. Put the code in that you see.
I've said to you for ages. One of my favourite things about the Wii U is that you can pull the game down to the pad, and I know folks whose partners aren't game centric and might want to use the telly to watch EastEnders or whatever it is, and that they can pull Monster Hunter or Darksiders 2 or whatever down to the pad and play it. I think that's great, but I
was doing it with Resogun. Oh, I did a test. I sat on the sofa, I remote played it down, I left the TV on, so it's on both screens at this point. I was sort of looking back and forward, sort of seeing, how close it was matching, and it was pretty good. Like, I mean, I was in my own house, and it was only, 3 foot from the Wi-Fi box, but it worked. There's a little bit of lag every now and again, like just the odd sort of split second of it here and there, but I didn't notice a single problem.
I'm sure I read somewhere that someone said that there was a way of, I'm not sure the specifics, but someone was saying that you could leave your PS4 at home and you could go to somewhere else with Wi-Fi, and if there was a way that you could find to tunnel from, say, a hotel room wherever back to your PS4, that you could play games. I don't know. I can't remember the specifics, but I remember reading it and just going like, actually, that'd be pretty fucking sweet.
I know you can access it because when you do the remote play, you just get the PS4 screen. Like, you access all the functions on your Vita, and you can know. I did load up Killzone, but again, I was crap at it, and it didn't work very well. But it worked. Like, it functionally worked. I was shit, but it worked.
I've heard Need for Speed really sings with regards to...
I've heard that as well.
With regards to streaming.
Do you know what I've also been doing? I also connected up my phone using the official PlayStation app for the phone, and you can actually use your phone as a second screen as well. Like, you can't play games on it, but like if you play a game like I've heard it works with like Assassin's Creed, for instance, you can bring up like the maps and shit on your phone.
Who's the man? For those people that don't know, who's the manufacturer of your phone, Patrick?
I think it's Ericsson.
Seriously, if you sawed through your arm, it wouldn't be sort of blood and sinew and bones. It would be like rock with Sony just written around the outside.
PlayStation symbols dripping out of my arm.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but that's obviously sort of wild speculation. Probably not true. So don't saw Patrick's arm off.
Yeah, please. If you see me in the wild, please don't cut my arm off.
But yeah, sort of jumping on to the last topic for today. Then on Saturday night on Channel 4 in England, Blighty, Great Britain, the Queen's Commonwealth,
USE.
Charlie Brooker did something, ran an hour and a half, I think.
2 hours.
Called Video Games Change the World, and it was it was listed as what many people seem to have speculated was a top 25, but it wasn't. It was a chronological listing of video games that did big things, and
that became apparent quite quickly.
But not to everybody. I was reading a few tweets today, and some people were angry that one thing was higher than others, and I don't know.
So it was literally in date order. It was easy. And before we get into discussing, can I just say, what a stupid time slot to put it on in. What a stupid time, the day after I get my PS4. I wanted to play my PS4. I want to watch the show. And I've got all these things, and I was annoyed. I was like, oh, why couldn't it have been Thursday?
What a perfect time slot to put it on. Fucking prime time on a Saturday evening. That's perfect.
But just the week before, not that exact day, the day after I get the damn machine. It's like, oh, come on.
Shut up.
And I've been at work as well, so I hadn't played it all day.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, Resogun.
Shush. So yeah, wonderful time slot, and good on Channel 4 for doing that. And kudos to Charlie Brooker for getting people in to write the show who knew their stuff. I mean, Cara Ellison, Matt Lees, and John Blythe, all very funny, very talented writers. And I think that reflected in the show itself. Also, the diversity of the people that they brought in. I mean, there were politicians in there, comedians, TV peeps. Matt Lees was on there as well.
I thought they picked the right sort of people. They're the people that I know of as people that actually, give a shit. People like Dara O'Brien, he likes games.
Dara's stuff was really funny as well.
I enjoyed Dara quite a bit.
Also, I mean, I have to nail my colours to the mast here that I am a long-term Commodore 64 nerd, and the way he did a Spectrum Smackdown was just fucking beautiful. Well played. But yeah, I thought Keith Stewart's piece on Minecraft and the way that it had brought a level of creativity to his son, who's or a level of expression. On the autism scale was really affecting. It choked me up rather massively. But I was in a strange position when I watched it on Saturday because I just finished a massive shift on Saturday full of Christmas people, and sort of got in and made a butty and sat down and kind of I was knackered, and that tainted my initial watch of it. I was thinking, this is entertaining, but it felt a bit joyless when I first watched it. And I put it on again and I managed to watch most of it and fell asleep because I was just
tired. You're allowed.
Super shafted. And then on Sunday, I was going to put it on to watch the rest, but I decided to watch it from the start again.
Yeah.
And loved it. I really, really loved it. But I'm hoping that this would bring on a series or I don't know, because apparently a lot was cut.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine that at least with Matt Lee's involvement, that Dark Souls was probably there somewhere. But I'd like to see a weekly show anyway. But this was a question that was thrown out by Cara Ellison last week on Twitter. If there was a regular game show on TV, what format would you like it? Would you like it to take? Would you like it in the style of Video Games Change the World, or something else?
Do you know what I want back? Fucking Games Master.
Yeah, I could see a degree of that working, but it is
so go for Games Master again. Oh god, that's half my childhood was Games Master.
Do you think? Would you want a show that pitched to younger viewers like Games
Master? You know what I'd want?
Or would you want that kind of design that was for an adult audience?
My thinking. So I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, it's funny you mentioned. I was sort of thinking, how would you do Games Master these days? Because games are now there's such a wide breadth of sort of moods and topics and themes that you could explore in a game. You've got your games like your Marios that are about cartoon plumbers jumping on people, and then on the other end of the spectrum you've got your, say, for the sake of argument, Last of Us, which is a bit more grown up, shall we say, for want of a better phrase, but you know what I mean. Why not have a couple of shows? You know, kids aren't going to play the same games as adults, but they deserve, you know, a good show about games as well.
Mhm.
You know, do, for example, stick Games Master on CBBC or whatever, and then have a more serious, you know, grown-up show, as it were, in the evenings with the same sort of tone as Charlie Brookers stuff there.
Do you
I
know
actually
what?
liked. Did you ever see he did his Games Wipe?
Oh yeah,
That
I
he
really
did?
enjoyed Games.
I was
Games was fantastic.
The worst part about that show was that there was only one of them. I was expecting
Yeah.
more. I was like, oh, what? That was it? Oh, damn.
I mean,
you know.
if you're taking on your two separate shows argument, the thing, if we're taking that as a broad stroke, what I'd be interested to see was the same presenter and the same way of talking for the younger show and the older show, just a different audience. Because I think it'd be interesting to just relate to people as people, as to, you know, whether they were adults or younger kids. Just talk to them like you love games. I mean, I've got nieces and nephews and stuff, and I think the reason that I get on sort of so well with them, and perhaps because they're so intrigued by me, I guess, is because I don't talk down to them. I'll always, you know, talk to them and just have fun with them, but not change my voice or anything like that. And I think it'd be interesting to talk to kids who love games.
Here's an interesting interesting midpoint.
As like little adults, but then
Yeah.
have the show where you're just talking to adults in exactly the same way. But maybe the games are different, and maybe the themes are different, and
Well, here's a wild theory, right? So we're thinking, you know, maybe a show you could watch with your kids, you know, a family show, you know, that, you know, goes through over the best of stuff, and, you know, maybe a bit of challenge in there. Just use the Gladiators format. Like, a bunch of different challenges, you know, and have kids against adults competing, and oftentimes the kids would probably win. I'd watch that. You know,
I thought you were gonna say, you know, mum's shit at Grand Theft Auto, put her up on a massive pylon, and a kid will hit her with essentially a mahoosive cotton bud till she falls. I mean, on a sort of on a more serious note, I attended Game City in Nottingham in October, and it was life changing. It was absolutely superb. But a part of that was Cara and Keith's Power Lunch, which was Cara Ellison and Keith Stewart, one of which wrote or was one of the writers from Video Games Changed the World, one of which was on the show themselves, like talking. But that was almost like it was a sofa-based conversation about games, and they'd have various creators from indie creators upwards, people that were genuinely passionate about games and the games that they were making and the games that they loved, and often sitting different people on the sofa next to each other. You get kind of a crazy chemistry at times. I remember the lad that does the music for Minecraft was sitting next to Steve Preble. No, sorry, not Steve Preble. It was Lucy Preble that interviewed Steve Gaynor. That was it. It was Steve Gaynor from Fulbright Company, who did Gone Home. Mm-hmm. They were both sitting next to each other on the sofa at a certain point, and they were making one another piss themselves laughing, and it was so great to watch. And when you've got that energy, it's fantastic anyway. Cara and Keith were just superb hosts and brought the best out of their guests. But I'd really like to see that, just people that are passionate about games in general, people that love games, talking about their influences and what they tried to do. And you know, there were episodes where there was a lady from Minority who did Papo and Yo, who reduced me to tears when I was watching, because she was talking about the game's kind of based around the relationship that the head of Minority had with his father, who's struggled with alcoholism, and that there's a monster in there who's kind of cool, but when he eats too many of the green frogs, he gets angry. And she was talking about that, and I was biting down hard on my lip to try not to do like a kind of sob in front of a room full of people. But every day of that show, I didn't know what to expect. I knew I'd be entertained. I knew there'd be people on there that'd make me want to check out their stuff, and that there'd be a really sort of wide variety of games that were on show. And even at the Broadway breakfast, as they were at the Broadway cinema, where there'd be various people from gaming talking about their influences. And Lee Alexander did a great showing on games like sort of Phantasy Star that she loved as a child, and sort of pointing out things that in adulthood make her laugh, but not applying I don't know, cynicism to the things that she loved as a child, so celebrating it as well as kind of having a nudge and a wink to that. And Lee Alexander and Quentin Smith did a superb talk on sex in games, and when games do it right, when games do it wrongly, and which was superbly entertaining. But those kind of rich discussions I'd love to see, because even if someone was coming in from outside of games and watching the discussion, I think that they will be taken by the enthusiasm and the effervescence of the people and the subjects on show, and perhaps become curious to have a look in, or perhaps even tune in again.
Well,
I'd like to see that expanded, and that those experiences and those that just joy and warmth of games.
Yeah. I put this to you. What you've explained there. Do you know the vibe I've been getting? Something like whatever they call it now, Film 2000 or Film whatever they call it now, Film 2013. The film show on channel BBC One, isn't it?
Okay.
I haven't watched it in years, but I used to all the time, and you get some really, really great discussions, with the creators of the films, the stars or the directors, that sort of thing, and not just promo hype. That actually talk about the things they're doing. You get people sort of critically discussing it after seeing a little clip of saying this is what this is, this is the new film coming out, and then they discuss it, and you'd see the guests bounce off each other a bit as well, and I could go for that. I'd watch that if it was about games. It sounds like, from what you said, that's the sort of thing that I get. That's what that evokes in my mind.
Honestly,
just people sitting on the couch, and just a couple of people from completely different, walks of life, just chatting about things they like.
Because one of the disappointments for me last week was I don't know if you saw that footage of Charlie Brooker and Jon Snow.
Didn't watch it. Haven't watched it yet. I've heard it's not great.
It's just atrocious. And I've got a lot of time for Jon Snow. I think he's a wonderful journalist, a wonderful presenter. But essentially, he sat there as Grandpa Simpson, and just like, why is that man urinating against the post? And just really bizarre stuff like that, and had no interest in kind of exploring the great themes or even trying to understand what was on screen. There wasn't a single point where he didn't cut Charlie Brooker off mid-sentence, and it was just it was horrible to watch.
Yeah, that's why I've been putting it off. I've heard nothing good about it. That's why I've been putting it off. I don't want to watch it.
I mean, I don't think the fact that his Lego City was on and really helped, but I'd like to see a follow-up video where Charlie basically tried to talk to him at a certain point about Papers, Please, which you'd have thought would be up Jon Snow's sort of street, and
Politico in a way.
Yeah, that it might be I don't know, more to his taste, or even showing what games can do outside of the big shiny mainstream stuff. And I know that Jon Stewart, I'm calling him Jon Stewart now, Jon Snow, watched the show on Saturday and really enjoyed it and found it really intriguing. But I'd love to see a follow up where Jon Snow sits down with Papers, Please, and explores that. And I don't like the way that things were left with the initial piece. It just left a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it sounds like you just brushed it off in a way,
Yeah, constantly.
To quote Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow.
Good done. You've been waiting with that punchline, you bitch.
Yep, so long.
But I'd like to see a follow up where, I don't know, Jon Snow's introduced to Papers, Please, and he's shown that there are these little niches that are quite quirky that are cropping up everywhere. And Brooker argued that it's like cinema. You've got your bigger movies, and you've got your smaller independent pieces that are quirky and really interesting, and often made by sort of one or two people and stuff. And just to give someone a little bit more of an in, that there's something for everyone there, would be great.
Yeah.
And that Snow has now watched the piece that was on Saturday night and was entertained and intrigued by it. I'd just like to see that extra bit, and especially if they ever put it out on DVD or Blu-ray and stuff, to have the first Jon Snow piece and then have a second piece where he sits down and plays Papers, Please, would be wonderful, because it'd be a nice little bookend. Plus, in between, he's watched the show, so it'd be great little extras, I guess.
Yeah. And just one final point before we finish off. One final point, because I feel like I need to mention this, and we won't go into detail here. We'll just do like a minute. They also played. They had like a games night on Saturday, so they played Charlie Brookers' show, and then Indie Game the movie afterwards. I got so annoyed by that. I watched about an hour of it, and every time I started to enjoy it, one of the people in there would say something so gut-wrenchingly stupid, it made me hate them. And I wanted to like it, and just the only person in that entire film, or of the main guys they followed, was Ed McMillan from Meat Boy, the beardy one from Meat Boy. He's awesome. He's a solid bro. Everyone else just seemed like twats.
I think the disappointment for me of Indie Game the movie, and I was entertained by it, was that it was strictly one-sided. And I think that it would have been interesting to see interviews from the Microsoft side of things. Also, there was lots of mention of Phil Fisher's former partner, which I think is the guy that did. Is it the guy that did Sound Shapes, or
maybe?
He either did Sound Shapes or something else that came out on PSN. I can't think, but it would have been nice to see his perspective, because he was always painted as the bad guy, and yet you didn't know his motives or his reasoning or why he was doing what he was doing, and it just felt like there was a huge chunk of cake that was missing that I would have enjoyed being in there.
The counterpoint would have been nice.
Yeah, I just think it would, make your own decisions thereafter, but it all seemed a wee bit blingy. Yeah,
it left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Particularly, like, there was one line. It was the other guy from the Meat Boy team. They were talking about why are you in indie? It's like because it's basically something along the lines of most games are shit, and I don't want to make shit games. We don't make shit games. They're shit games. Like, oh, shut up.
Well, that
dial it down a bit there, Tonto.
That ties in a little bit with the Phil Fish Japanese games are shit comment.
Yeah, it's that sort of like it's just as bad to write off entire swathes of that sort of culture as it is to only embrace that swathe of culture. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just as bad.
There's a ton of shite that's out there, but some things that one person considers shite, another person might enjoy.
Except in the case of Guacamole, which is universally excellent, and if you hate it, you're not a human.
Yeah.
You hate joy if you hate
If you
that
do
game.
well, we'll stop off for pizza. What if we've done badly? Poison. What if one of us has done well and one has done badly? Poison pizza. Oh no, I'm not making 2 stops.
Yeah, no, but I don't want to end on a negative, but yeah, Indie Game the movie, it left me with a bad taste. I've not watched all of it. I've got another half of it to go, and I will watch it. There's so many cool guys out there. Guys like Rami Ismail from what are they called? Oh God, this is terrible. I've forgotten what the company's called. They made Meatball, Super Crate Box, and Lufferhauser's Vlambeer.
Yeah,
Vlambeer, and we've got Mike Bithell, Thomas Was Alone guy, making Volume. He's a awesome guy, really cool guy. Talk to those people, or talk to Ed McMillan, but just leave his shitty friend out. You know, just talk to the cool people.
I can chime in with so many people who spoke up on that from Game City, who were just a joy and weren't being bitchy and weren't being nasty, but were full of the games that they loved and what they, their passions and their influences and what they enjoyed and what they tried to do and what they felt that they. I mean, I sat in into what was it, the Council House Ballroom in Nottingham, and saw discussions with Charlie from Minority Media on Papa and Yo and Silent Enemy, their new game, which was wonderful. There were two sittings with Steve Gaynor, who was talking about Gone Home, which were wonderful, like long form discussions and stuff. And these were people that were really self-deprecating and really passionate and really loved games, and there wasn't a degree of arrogance about them. Also the Mike Bithell presentation, where he announced that Volume was a retelling of Robin Hood, but did that at Nottingham Castle and had a historian alongside him, and Mike Bithell was geeking out as much as everybody else, asking this historian about the different interpretations of Robin Hood and how the myth had twisted and turned and changed and stuff. That's creative people just loving games, and that's the feeling that I got from Game City. And if you then contrasting that to what you were saying about a pithy, acidic vibe from Indie Game the movie, the continents apart.
Yeah. And that's what we need. Positivity.
I'd rather just have a celebration rather than a sneer.
Because there are lots of shit things, but there are lots of good things. And if we keep just talking about the shit things, then shit's all we're going to talk about.
You see, this is why your career in the church never took off. That was a terrible summation. You may all close your Bibles now. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Please do not make of the shit things. Only deal in the not shit things.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the debut episode of the Humanities. We shall be back in hopefully the next couple of weeks, and we've got a new Twin Humanities to do because we've been playing lots of Soul Level 1 and other stuff on Dark Souls.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, we've got a few more things bouncing around, but hopefully you enjoyed this debut soiree, and you'll come back and see us again, because we've still got stuff to talk about, and there's stuff that we didn't talk about this time, and we'll have stuff to talk about next time. So thank you for listening, if you have.
Yes, thank you very much, and we will see you again in an unspecified amount of time.
Yes.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.